All right, we're jumping UFC featherweight now, Jack Shore. Jack, how's it going, man?
Yes, mate. Good, good. Just finished teaching the kids at the gym, so good to be back and see the boys. But yeah, all good. Still buzzing.
It doesn't even look like you got into a fight about like not even a week ago. Like, how kind of happy were you with that performance then?
Yeah, I was really happy. Kind of went how I thought it would. Also, I would have rather not spent the better part of the first round on my back. But all in all, from the second round onwards, I felt really good, and everything I was talking about in the build up, in terms of like going up a weight and being able to perform how I know I can in the gym, it factored in. And in that second round, I just felt on fire from the word go in that second round. So yeah, it was good. I felt really happy with the performance. All in all, a couple of things to work on, but can't complain.
When did you make the decision to go up to 45 and like how did that kind of happen?
So we done a couple of like DEXA scans and stuff like that back in August because we was kind of toying with the idea of going up. I've always just like struggled to make bantamweight, and it was getting as I'm getting older, it was just getting a lot harder. I felt like I was a lot bigger than my teammates who fight at the weight, and they are walking on a lot lighter than what I was. So we kind of made a decision after the scans in August. I was carrying a little knee injury, so we knew I wasn't going to be fighting that side of Christmas anyway. So we knew that I would have a little bit of time to kind of just grow into the not grow into the weight class, but just make some necessary adjustments. Increase my strength conditioning program, make it more specific to kind of getting stronger, more explosive, more athletic. So yeah, it's going back probably I think it was August or September. We kind of made the official decision, if you want to call it that.
How much pressure was on you in this one? Like fighting obviously in London, moving up, like coming off the first career loss, and then obviously off the injury too. Like there seems like you kind of had a lot of pressure and a lot of like weight on your shoulders going into this one.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure. Like you said, coming off a loss, to kind of make the decision to move up a weight class after a loss, it kind of can go really well, but like it did, but it could have also gone really bad as well because, um, if I had gone up weight and lost, they kind of people would have looked at me as like, right, well, what's the next option then? You know what I mean? So I had the pressure of not only trying to come back and get in a win or in the win column, but also come back and justify the move up. Didn't want to go in there and look like, awful compared to what I usually do just because I move up the way. And then you factor in the hometown crowd, and it's a massive card against a guy who's been in there with some really, really good level guys and look good against them as well. So it was a lot of pressure, but pressure makes diamonds, as they say. And I've been in the sport long enough to know you either let pressure kind of build up and mount on top of you and weigh you down, or you can kind of use it to motivate yourself and push yourself. And I feel like that's what I did.
With Makwan, like he's obviously extremely dangerous in the first round, but that's kind of been the knock on him is if you extend him, like he seems to kind of gas out when he gets finished. Like, did anything surprise you that he did or didn't do in that early on in that fight?
Probably I was a little bit surprised at how quick he broke, to be honest. I knew he was going to get tired, but I kind of thought because he didn't do a lot in that first round. Although he took me down and pinned me, he didn't. It wasn't like he had a really busy round chasing submission. He kind of just sat in my guard and was, he was easy to read. I could read him like a book. He wanted me to sit up and so he could attack my neck. But I didn't buy into that, and I was really kind of surprised at how quick. Like I could tell straight away as soon as I came up for the second round, he was straight away on the back foot. He looked a little bit lethargic. I don't know if it was more of a mental thing perhaps than a physical. Perhaps mentally, he was broke at the fact that he'd got me down and couldn't do anything with me. But yeah, that was the only thing that really surprised me. I knew he'd get tired. I knew I was the better striker. I knew I was the better grappler. I just knew that he's dangerous. He's world class with that anaconda choke. So I just knew he was going to be looking for that. But yeah, just I knew he'd get tired. I just didn't expect him to fade and crumble as quick as he did.
And then first, like fight at featherweight too. Like, did you feel like a natural featherweight in there? Do you still think like you still have to add a bit of size to you now that you're kind of just fully into featherweight?
No, I felt good. I didn't feel undersized. I definitely didn't feel under strength. In the clinch and the grappling, I felt like I was the stronger man. Size wise, you had a little bit of length on me, but I didn't feel any discrepancy there. But I am new to the weight class, and like I said, I've only made the jump and fully committed to it, back in August. So there's time now. I'm gonna take a little bit of time off because my father's going through some stuff, and I got a baby on the way. So I'm gonna just take a couple of months to just keep working on what I was working on, back before Christmas. Just keep working the strength. I don't necessarily want to add size, but I do want to keep getting stronger and more explosive and more athletic. I don't want to come full circle and be in a position where I'm cutting, a massive amount of weight just to make the featherweight like I was at bantamweight. I still want to be like I still want that middle ground where I'm cutting a bit of weight, but not enough where I'm gonna have to solely focus my camp on a weight cut. But there's still plenty of work to do. I got a great S&C coach with Paul Reed. He's very scientific. He's already putting a plan together now for me to do in a little bit of an off season. In a couple of months, I've got to make the necessary changes and improvements. So there's still work to be done, but I can honestly say I didn't feel at any disadvantage on Saturday in terms of strength and size.
Was fight week a bit more enjoyable? Obviously, just being close to home, but then not having to worry about this massive weight cut ahead of you.
Yeah, it was a lot more enjoyable. Obviously, I still cut a good bit of weight fight week because I wanted to make sure that I could go, but I didn't want to kind of just wake up and weigh in. I wanted to cut a bit of weight to make sure I could put some size back on between the fight. Between the weigh-ins and the fight, but it was so much more enjoyable. My coaches reckon they'd never seen so much of me on a fight week. It's usually train and go back and feel sorry for myself in the room and watch food videos. But we was we was kind of train. We'd go out and about a little bit. Keep ourselves busy. So it was a much more enjoyable fight week. And the weight cut was kind of like, right, let's go and make weight rather than here we go, let's cut the weight. Are we going to make it, or is it going to be a gruel? It was kind of, we knew we'd make the weight. It was just a case of going and getting it done. So it was much more enjoyable. It's the first fight week in God knows how long that I can say I was able to enjoy and fully take in.
A lot of fighters do that. What you just mentioned is watch food videos while they're cutting weight. Like, why is that? Because I feel like if I was like starving, the last thing I want to see is just like food because it would make me more hungry.
I can't explain it. Every fight I know is exactly the same. My dad's always saying to me, because obviously we share the room, and he's like, turn that off. He's like, you're gonna make yourself worse. But I'm sat eating like a chicken salad or a bit of steak, and I'm watching some guys smash a massive pizza or a massive burger. I can't explain it. It's like it's a sick fantasy. It's kind of like you want it because you can't have it. And for some reason, I always end up watching it when I'm eating food as well, which I don't know why, because it'll take the food I'm eating fight week. It takes you about 30 seconds to clean a lot, whereas you're watching guys do these challenges. But I don't know. I mean, like, I literally won't watch another food challenge now until like the Monday of my next fight week. It's just something about fight week. I always end up finding myself watching food videos.
You've been one of the lucky fighters where the past couple fights for you have all been in front of fans, but a bit different this time with being back so close to home. Like, what was kind of the reception like for you, and what's it like to be able to fight in front of that UK fan again?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It's always great to fight in the UK. I fought in New York last time, and they were a good crowd, but the UK crowd are kind of a next level. And a couple of my friends who came to watch said when I my walkout song come on, the crowd kind of just, it set the tone for the rest of the night. The crowd just went nuts and kind of didn't really calm down from after that fight. You could feel it in there. The O2 is one of those venues where it feels like everyone's on top of it. You can hear from the minute, even like during the fight, you can hear the crowd roaring, and you can feel the atmosphere. You can feel the electricity in the building. It's unbelievable from start to finish. Even the weigh-ins, like the weigh-ins in New York compared to the weigh-ins here, just a completely different kettle of fish. It's an amazing atmosphere, and I hope they keep coming back here multiple times a year now rather than just the once, because I think they can see that the fans over here are a different kind of passionate.
Obviously, after the fight, you mentioned that your dad was going through cancer. Like, was there any ever thought of having to pull out? Just because obviously that's a stressful time for probably you and your family to go through.
Yeah, so like, to be honest, I got offered. I didn't get offered Makwan, but they told me that I was going to be fighting on the London card back in November, and then we had the news about it like 5 or 6 days later, and I was kind of like, right, that's the fight off. I can't fight when he's kind of got his treatment and going through all this. And he sat down with me, and he was like, look, I think I would feel better about it if you did fight. And he said, I think you being in training camp and me having to coach you through it will kind of help me get through the treatment. It'll give me something to focus my energy on. My old man's a strong cat. He doesn't want the pity party. He's not the type of guy to sit around and feel sorry for himself. So, I probably would have, if it was on me, I probably wouldn't have done the fight, to be honest. But he kept on and was like, no, I want you to do it. And I thought, right, if that's what he wants, if that's going to help him, get through it, if that's going to make it a little bit easier for him to kind of attack the treatment, then I'll do it. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough couple of months. There was times where he couldn't come to the gym. There was times where he was bedbound for a couple of days, which is something, I'm not used to. He's usually there for the majority, well, 99% of my sessions during fight camp. So it was a different camp. It was stressful at times. It was tough. I had to pick up the slack for the gym, for the family. I'm glad we got through it, and I'm glad it paid off for him.
You kind of mentioned a bit earlier too, you want a bit of time off just with having a kid and your dad's like, when is kind of that ideal time frame for you to return then?
So my dad's starting his radiotherapy this week. That's like a month long intense bout of treatment, and then obviously, he's got to go and do scans and blood tests and stuff like that again to see, what the next step is. So my son's being born in July. I mean, so I'm guessing we'll see what happens. I don't want to put a set date on it. Obviously, I'm going to fight again this year. I see they've announced Abu Dhabi in October. That would be ideal. I would have loved to have got another one in before the birth of my boy, but with my dad's treatment and stuff, I don't want to commit to anything just yet because it was very stressful, and although I'm glad I've done it, I gotta kind of be there for my family and stuff like that at the minute as well. So I don't want to commit to anything and say, yeah, I'll fight this guy on this date, and then 2 weeks down the line, we have news or maybe his treatment gets pushed back or something, and we got to switch it up and mess everybody about. So, I'm definitely eyeing up the Abu Dhabi card in October. It's just a case of whether I can kind of come and go again before that. But, I'm not in no rush. I'm only young, and I got other priorities at the minute. And you know what I mean? I know people are busting to see me back in there, and I'd love to get back in there myself. But you got to put family first sometimes.
Do you really care who it is? I guess because you might not fight till October. Like, obviously, the landscape of the division might change a lot. So it's kind of hard to say, like, oh, I want this guy, like, in like 7, 8 months from now.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's obviously guys out there that I'm looking at who would be an ideal next fight. But like you said, if they haven't fought this year yet already, they're more than likely going to fight between now and October. So I don't want to be like calling names and whatever, and then they end up, they could end up losing a fight or get injured, and something can happen. I know everyone wants you to call a name, and people kind of probably think that's a bit of a boring answer, but a lot can happen between now and then. I think what's October, 7 months away, so we'll see if I can get out sooner. Maybe I'll pluck a name out of somewhere, but if it is that car, I guess we'll just see how things play out. You know what I mean?
Just two more things. Like, how quickly do you think you can get into these featherweight rankings? Like, obviously, you were ranked at bantamweight. Like, beating Makwan, like, you look at the guys that have lost to him are all pretty top guys. Like, how quickly do you think you kind of get a ranked opponent?
I mean, I would have said I'm probably maybe another 2 fights, and then perhaps I get a shot at someone in the rankings. It is a deep division, it's full of very good guys who are not ranked themselves. It's a little bit like bantamweight, to be honest, to an extent, where it's such a deep division that there's so many good guys, and you kind of think, well, how is he not ranked? You know what I mean? So I'd say probably another 2. I mean, it depends. I think I looked really good on the weekend, to be honest. I think other than getting pinned a little bit in the first round, I think I answered a lot of questions, and I think a lot of people will be impressed by how I dealt with him. To be honest, I made him look very average. And other than one takedown, he didn't get a lot. He didn't get anything going. So I think 2 fights probably, and I can start pushing those ranking spots. But I'm at this stage in my career now where I've been doing it long enough to know that things can change and things can happen, and sometimes you can get obsessive with things like I want to rank, and then but we're never satisfied. You know what I mean? It's like I want to fight a guy in the ranking, then it's I want a top 10, then it's I want a top 5. Whereas I just kind of want to enjoy every fight as it comes. I want to just enjoy every fight and take the unique challenges that each fighter brings, rather than think, well, if I beat this guy, I can do this, and if I beat them, I can do that. I just want to take one fight at a time, and if that lands me up fighting for a shot at a ranked position, then great. But I want to get back to how I used to be early on in my career, and enjoy just the task at hand, rather than thinking of what's going to happen in 3, 4 fights time.
I'm not sure if you've looked at it, but like Do you think matchup wise, like a lot of those guys in the rankings at featherweight are better matched than you at bantamweight? Just because a lot of them are strikers, where like you obviously have a pretty good ground game and wrestling game. Where look at the top of bantamweight division, it is a lot of heavy wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really looked into it too much. I think, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I think if you're ranked in the top 50 in any division nowadays, I mean, even look at guys like Islam Makhachev, who is an elite level wrestler, but then, he's not just a wrestler, he can strike as well. He's got unbelievable jiu-jitsu. So I think any one of those guys in any of the top 15, any of the division are very good. They're all going to have their specialty areas, but they can all do everything. I think the difference with some of the good guys to the great guys is being able to gel it all together and finding those ways to enforce your kind of game plan and your tactics. But there's some good fights there. If I'm honest, I think the division is just as dangerous as the guys at bantamweight. There's no easy fights. It's stacked top to bottom, and then you probably got 10 to 15 guys outside of the rankings that are all on the cusp as well. So I think there'll be a lot of chopping and changing between the rankings, within the next couple of months, especially with the big cards and the big fights coming up.
Well, Jack, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this.
No problem, mate. No problem at all. Hey, and everyone, you can go and follow the Tanked Up podcast on YouTube. That's my only little plug for the interview.
And 501 is the only way to play darts.
501 is the only way to play darts. None of this free dart shootout bullshit. 501. Finish on the double. Come on. If we're going to do it right.